Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
Finally, after all this time, we have broken into the Disney studios. We have the Disney wand. Hi, welcome back.
Shit.
Welcome to the Disney Channel.
What?
The amount that I wanted to do that as a child, immeasurable.
Oh, seriously.
I know that it was all fake. I know that it was all CGI. But the amount that I thought as a young kid that it was just a glow stick and that they were just making magic. Ugh.
Yeah. I was obsessed with, there was at one point, I think on Twitter a couple of years ago, where people just put out the raw videos from all of them, like in a montage of them doing it and like tracing where the actual, like where their hand motions go. And they never ever once made like the actual shape right. It's all fucked up. It's so funny.
No, I don't know that I can take another Disney thing being broken. And I think that truly that's going to happen for a lot of kids now when they get their vaccination at Disneyland.
Stop.
And they're going to be like, yeah, what's up, Donald Duck? Could you just give me a good old shot in the booty, please?
That's maybe the worst mental picture I've ever conjured. So thank you.
Why are they doing it at Disneyland?
I don't know.
That's so scary to me.
Seems a little off-brand.
It seems pretty off-brand.
But I guess, do what you gotta do.
Honest to God, though, if I'm truly being honest and authentic with myself, if I could get a vaccine and then get one of those fucking big pickles, that does sound like a great day to me. So, if I'm just being true.
Listen, and if there's one group of people that wants to be vaccinated more than anyone else, it is Disney kids that can't go to Disneyland anymore. Or / Disney adults that can't go. Yeah.
And here's my biggest fear, though, and I'm glad that you brought this up, is in fact Disney adults.
Right.
I am so terrified because the fact that they are doing this at Disneyland is how many people are going to get vaccinated and then immediately propose at Disneyland.
Oh, stop.
No, stop, because you know that that's a thought going through a lot of people's head, and you know Disney is going to take that marketing and be like, yes, more power for me. And it's like,
yes.
I know people personally that have gotten engaged at Disneyland. And, if that's one of you...
Me too. Yep.
No shade, but I am judging you. Am I saying that as a millennial who has a Twilight podcast? Yeah.
Yeah. We also, anytime we shit on anyone, we have no basis to stand on because we're two adults that talk about Twilight every week and have done so for 4 years.
Right.
So fuck it. Whatever. Our judgment means nothing.
Right. Exactly. But you come to us for that. So, you know what? That's fine. Cody, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Solely because, as of today, I am the proud owner of a flask that looks like a fish.
Oh my God.
It is maybe the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm a new person. Not that I'm going to be going anywhere to conceal alcohol with a flask because I've been inside for a year. But the second I can, I will have it in one that looks like a fish. And that is worth it to me.
I know that I've said this countless times over the past 4 years, but that is the most water sign thing I think you have ever done.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Listen, if they made one shaped like a crab, which doesn't seem anatomically correct or possible, but if they do, that might be next.
Yeah, I don't know how they would do that in a way that you wouldn't have to keep shaking it. It wouldn't be discreet.
No, not at all.
Now, if we're being honest with ourselves, is it going to be alcohol or are you going to squeeze fruit juice packets? What are those called? Capri Suns. Into your flask and drink it from there.
Oh shit, maybe. Maybe that's just what I drink everything in now. I'll just pour my fucking coffee in there straight up. Just
try desperately to get French press coffee into a flask.
Yeah, for real.
It just burns your body.
Yeah. How are you doing, man?
Oh my God. I mean, just on cloud 9 right now. Just feeling so supported by so many institutions.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
By every area of my life.
Feeling really fulfilled, comforted.
Feeling so well rested.
Yeah.
Feeling so relaxed and not anxious.
Yeah.
What I am bringing to this space is something I brought before, which is The Bachelor, but not just the show, The Bachelor. Specifically, Matt James. And
yes.
Matt James himself.
Yeah.
Because I'm convinced more than any other season of a reality show I've ever watched that Matt James is contractually obligated to be shirtless 3 times an episode.
Oh, certainly.
And I'm more certain of that than most things I am on a daily basis, which is a lot given my life and things. This show is buck wild. There are more women on here than I've ever seen in my life.
Just a gaggle of women.
There's just a murder of women.
Yeah.
Specifically, like, there are a lot of women this season from the Pacific Northwest, which is very odd. Like, that never usually happens. And so I find every time that someone from Seattle or Renton or, like, where I grew up in Oregon comes on there, I'm like, hey, I probably know that person. I don't know that person, but I probably do. So it's very interesting. This season already is ridiculous. I am convinced that one of the women is just a producer plant in just to cause more drama. It has brought me great joy to just unplug and watch something that has nothing to do with the world. A lot of times people that listen to this show mention something like that, of just like, it is just nothing to do with anything that's going on in the world. It is just an hour of a break, and that is what I get from watching this. And so, sure, it doesn't bring me any intellectual joy, like,
sure,
but fuck it, like, I don't need it.
Yeah. So that's overrated. Intellectual joy is overrated.
Listen, being smart is overrated. I'll just say that.
This is the year of the bimbo, baby. Let's go.
I don't need to be smart. All that's gotten me is debt and anxiety. So fuck it.
Listen,
I want to go back to not being smart. Speaking of, I want to talk to you about some of my favorite people in this world who I think are very smart. Could you take us to a corner that we should have had a long time ago? But could you take me to the Haley Williams corner, please and thank you?
It's about time we finally carved a space.
4 years too late, some might say.
4 years too late, and I apologize on our behalf, Miss Williams. This is also kind of a spiritual follow-up to our conversation last week.
It is.
About the Phoebe Bridgers Twilight Cinematic Universe. Because literally, after we stopped recording last week, Phoebe Bridgers tweeted, "The Twilight soundtrack really dodged a bullet by existing before I made music," which is verbatim what we said. So, Miss Haley Williams responded to this tweet, saying, "It is with a single grain of humility and a mild sense of authority on the subject that I'd like to disagree."
I would literally pass out.
I would die. I would die. I'd be on the floor.
I completely agree. This interaction, it is no surprise, right?
Yeah.
The interaction between these two is not the first. It will not be the last. But I just, can you even imagine what it would have been like? I talked about this in length last week, but I'm not over it because I just need it so desperately.
Right.
Just get them all back into the studio and be like, okay, we are going to play these movies right in front of you. We will give you the money. Add more music to this universe, please, and thank you.
Yes. Let's go. Extended Universe album reimagined. Let's go.
Exactly. And she has the audacity, like, after all of the work that Haley has added and the contributions that have been added to the Twilight fan base from her music alone, she has to be like, oh yeah, actually our music isn't the best from the Twilight soundtracks. Ma'am?
Yeah.
Ma'am.
Listen, she does shout out the Radiohead credit song, which isn't even, I guess, technically on the OG soundtrack.
It is a bop. There's no doubt about that. The actual Twilight Twitter account responded to this.
Who?
First
Who
of all,
are you?
We have been saying it for years. Open invitation. Literally
Yes.
come on whenever we want to know who you are. You can
Show
even,
yourselves.
honest to God, like, we don't even need to see who you are. If you need to put that fucking, like, voice altering stuff on.
I'll put a little fucking filter on it. Why not? I'll give
Exactly.
you anonymity. Absolutely.
I just need to know. How in God's name it is 2021 and you are still on this godforsaken app. Right, yeah. Exactly.
Oh God, I love it.
Unreal. It is wild to me that this is technically considered an article when it is really just linking a shit ton of
just
Twitter. Just tweets. But yes. This is also a follow-up to another story that we have talked about before. Some of you all might remember when we talked about the alternate universe that we could have had with a Twilight script.
Yeah.
A la NCIS, a la Sharks. Lots of things that were happening with this script that was very, like, big screen, lots of drama, CIA agents. Lots of stuff happening on here. Essentially, Screen Rant realized that this story existed now. And they were like, whoa. The source material is different. We need to talk about it. What I don't want to rehash is this story, because we have talked about it before. But instead, draw your attention to this article that was posted by Adrian Tyler on Screen Rant that says, Twilight, how Bella's movie story was almost completely different because of the visuals that are on here. What they have done is essentially created what I can only describe as almost like a virtual flip book or like a virtual scrapbook. It is very cinematic in all of the photos and captions that they have selected in trying to say that in a different universe, Bella Swan would have been smoking hot, which is disrespectful to Kristen Stewart, first of all. How dare you?
First of all.
The way that they have organized it makes it incredibly dramatic, which I find hilarious. And it is worth a peek if you, like many of us, have spent the past, 12 months, maybe 4 years doom scrolling on the internet and just need something to refresh a little bit.
Yeah.
That might be helpful.
Palette cleanser.
Exactly. We do have a lot of music themes this week.
Very musical episode.
The last thing I wanted to touch on here is a little bit of a history note. A lot of the things that I've noticed, specifically when on our Twilight TikTok, which, hey, follow us there if you have not. Yes. Cody does a lot of great work on there. I've noticed that a lot of the youth that is on there are sharing really valuable pieces of Twilight facts.
Yes. Education is so important.
It is. And a lot of them are re-engaging or engaging with the Twilight history for the first time, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah. Because
I am Father Time. It often comes across to me like, yes, what else?
Right.
Which I often have to be like, I have to remind myself, like, yes, these people are engaging with the fandom for the first time. Please stop being so jaded. Yes. But I wanted to share this with you because the fact that it was going around and people were like, what? And I thought maybe some of our listenership might not know this. So back in, what would this have been? 2008, when the first Twilight movie came out, there was a lot of talk within the blogs, it would have been back then, about what Bella's lullaby was going to sound like, whether it was going to be an original composition or something that already existed. And it was two camps. Some people thought that It was going to be an original composition, something that Edward already had and that like a composer for the score was going to make. Other people, when trying to develop this in their brains, chose something that was already created by a pianist to kind of share what they were thinking. And a lot of people landed on a song titled River Flows in You by the pianist Yuruma. This was incredibly popular, picked up by the masses during this time. So much so that freshman year me knew about this back then. Had it on my iPod, listened to it every single night. Like, when I still used my iPod back then, before I transferred over to Spotify, I think in like 2011, because I listened to it every night, I think it had like, I want to say at least 10,000 play, like ridiculous amount.
Right. Totally.
And so when people went to the movie for the first time, it wasn't even that the first time. I think it was when they saw the first clip of the trailer, I want to say, and noticed him like playing the piano. They were like, oh, holy shit. But there was a lot of discourse of like trying to figure out what song he was playing. So I wanted to share this because of the fact that there is some history of like, oh, they thought it was going to be this one, but it's not. It's actually an original composition. So in case you didn't know, now you know. I remember having to listen to this song for the first time on YouTube on dial-up internet. But like, I think it was technically like, I don't know, like Comcast internet, maybe a little bit faster at that point, but like barely.
Sure.
There is some history for those of you who are maybe new to the fandom at this time that like, remember your roots, okay? Like,
totally. Absolutely.
We have a question from one of our patrons, Sarah. Would you like to read it?
Absolutely. Do you think Stephanie uses J names because of her religion and maybe idolizes the what?
Yeah, the Duggars.
Okay, the Duggars whose kids name their kids starting with J's.
I had never made this connection.
Me either.
When I first saw this question and uses J names, I was like, yes, because of Jesus. Great.
Totally. Right.
I had never thought of the fact that it's the Duggars. Did you ever watch TLC growing up?
I did, yes, absolutely.
So are you then familiar with 19 Kids and Counting?
I did not watch that, no.
Okay, me either.
I was more of a John and Kate plus 8.
Oh, shit.
Kind of person, you know?
Okay, I get you. I only know about 19 Kids and Counting is because apparently there's like a major subsection of TikTok that talks about them, which is wild.
Sure, okay.
I did not know about that, but sure. This is a fantastic question, and I had not thought about this before. I think that is I don't know is the answer, which is not a helpful answer, Sarah, and I apologize.
Sure.
I don't know if you had any families like this when you were growing up, Cody, but I knew several families who named all of their kids with the same first letter. And that seems so difficult as a parent to be like Mackenzie, Michaela, Mikhail. And it's like, God damn, like, like that just seems so annoying, especially as you get older and you just start to forget shit. Like,
totally.
That, oh God. But I hadn't thought about the fact of like, oh, maybe it's a Mormon thing. And maybe. You know what? I can see it. I can see the red string.
Totally, yeah.
Which then makes the J for Jesus also make sense there.
Yes.
And so you know what, Sarah? You're on to something.
I can't even think of 19 J names. That seems like...
I would literally have to Google it. And that is...
Yeah.
Like at some point, you might just have to name your kid Jam. Right?
Jam.
Like you would have a jam and a jelly. Like, and that's just disrespectful, right?
Right. You know when you Google like an actor or someone, like a notable person, and they'll be like, oh, they're like the name of their spouse or like the name of their children. Like,
yeah.
This one, it has for first episode date, network, and 19th child.
Jesus Christ. Okay, now hold on. Wait a fucking second. If this is actually connected, Stephanie, we need to talk. Because one of these Duggar kids, now I might need to actually get into Duggar TikTok. One of these kids' name is Ginger, but it starts with a J, and that's nothing.
Okay, here's also what's fucked up about that, because the 19th one's name is Josie, which is a normal, regular J name.
Sure,
but they got to Ginger with a J first?
The number 6 kid.
What?
And at some point, these parents probably started calling their kids numbers, right? Don't you have to, right? And that's so fucked up.
That seems like a nightmare.
Okay, all right. Hold the fuck up. Hold the fuck up. This is all I care about now, and I understand why. Yeah. So they started off with Joshua, sure, technically, but like, that's like a normal biblical name. I got it.
Yeah.
And then there's Jana, normal Mormon name.
Yeah, right.
And then John David, which is that's a fucking, you're on a close line there, my dude. Both of those are biblical names, but you're kind of, that's not, hey, David is not a J name. I don't know if you know that. And then Jill, which is a very, hey, I get it.
Yeah, classic J.
But then 5 is Jessa. That's not a name.
I mean, I think Lena Dunham's girls would argue that, on the contrary, that is a name.
But Lena is also not a name. So
That's true.
So I don't know that she has any right.
You're right. I didn't even think about it like that.
I think, okay, so here's the thing. So Jessa and Ginger were born in 92 to 93. I think there was definitely a point at this time where they kind of fucked up, like big time. Like, I think Bill Clinton was going through some shit at this time, and they were like, you know what? We fucked up, personally. Can you imagine having a kid in every single zodiac sign? That sounds like my personal hell.
Jesus.
Okay, I'm done. I can't look at the Duggars anymore. All I'm just saying is, like, I understand now why a lot of people are very confused by their choices. Anyways, last thing here before we talk about the host and more of Stephanie fucking on her bullshit. We got a lovely question from a new patron named Bailey. Hi, Bailey. Hello.
Hi.
Who asked a lovely question, which is that they just joined as a patron and they noticed one of their perks, which is that they could ask us to do a bonus Jonas, which, hi, if you didn't know, as a patron, you can make us do stuff. You can.
Yes. You can.
We ask all the time during our bonus Jonases, what the hell do you want us to talk about? And sometimes y'all you tell us what you want, and then sometimes you do not.
Right.
So it's helpful to know. So Bailey asked if we would discuss the 2019 adaptation of Little Women. And Bailey, I never thought you would ask. And so I'm so glad.
Yes.
I'm so glad that you finally asked.
Yeah, I'll fucking talk about Little Women all day, every day. We can do a double feature. We can do all versions of Little Women.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that someone finally asked us to talk about something of quality on the show.
Yes.
All right. So the last time that we talked about Stephanie being on her bullshit, she was having us read about caves.
Yes.
And Wander/Melanie getting the shit slapped out of her.
It got a little hit.
Listen, there was a lot of violence.
Yes.
And Melanie was very excited. She was happy to be in the space, not realizing that just because she was outside of the desert, it did not mean that things were good for her.
Yeah.
But lessons were to be learned. And she also, by the end of the chapter, was like, as long as Jamie is safe, I will go with this doctor and sacrifice myself. And that is where we left off. So,
yeah,
folks, because the fact that this is a book that has, and I will not let you all forget about it, questions and topics at the end, I will ask you to make inferences on the fact that this chapter is titled Guarded.
Ooh, what could it mean?
What could it possibly mean? We know Stephanie, she likes to embed a lot of deep messages that take a lot of analysis to discuss. And so when Wanderer comes to, they have no idea where they are. Just know that shockingly still hungry after all this time. Still hungry, still thirsty, have a headache, wonder why. Couldn't have been because they got their shit rocked.
Right.
And also some observations of being in a rough, oddly curved pocket.
So that doesn't sound great. Not a fan of that particular phrasing.
Yeah, the initial first thought that I had was like an adult-sized Hot Pocket, like one of those little aluminum Hot Pockets, which I don't
It's like
hate.
being in a race car bed of your own making, you know?
Right, exactly. And I don't hate that, but it does not sound ideal either. Yeah. Lots of descriptions about the musty air. Just, hey, in case we don't talk about it, just know that the air is musty. Just know it's like not a good, it's not good air that's going on here.
It's not that high filtered cave air that you come to expect.
Right, exactly. It's not that good, clean ocean, Pacific Northwest forest ocean air kind of stuff. Right. Think like a bathroom on an airplane. Not good air.
Sure.
Wanderer's afraid to open their eyes. Just, because it'd be like that sometimes. Not just because, like, they don't know if they're in a prison or whatever is going on, but just, sometimes you just don't want to open your eyes.
It'd be like that.
It'd be like that sometimes. There's also this sound that appears out of nowhere, and so naturally, Wanderer screams, and we see Jared come out of nowhere, just half lit up, and of course, because he's Jared, and he's a main character of Stephanie's making, his lips are tight with anger, and he has a vein in his forehead that's pulsing.
God.
Just things I did not want to think about from this 30-year-old man. I don't want to think about any part of him pulsing, but especially not just a fucking vein in his forehead. No, thank you. Yeah. I'm good.
Especially while acting as someone's captor, effectively.
For real.
Like, that's not the image that I...
Stephanie, don't put your kinks on me. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
That's not what I want.
Or anything, but I don't have to see that, so...
To shame. I will. I will do that. Cody's kind. I'm not. I'm happily aggressive. No, thank you. We also find out, we find out that Jared has been like sitting guard outside what seems like Wanderer says it's a cell. It's not. Like, we're in caves, folks. They don't, listen, there's no prison bars here.
Yeah.
But he's been like sitting guard outside this. Wanderer also finds out that there's been Jared, like, shoved a tray in front of Wanderer. And so there's now food here. So there's, like, a water bottle, there's some bread, some soup. And Jared is, like, he literally gave Wanderer this food, and he's, like, disgusted that Wanderer's eating it. It's so gross. Like, shut up, dude. Wanderer's hungry.
Yeah. Sorry you made busted-ass cave food. I'm sorry.
Right, exactly. Naturally, though, like, they're kind of confused by it. Like, I think that the impression at the end of the chapter was like sacrificing.
Yeah.
And now it's like, why are they feeding me? Like, what is happening here?
And Wanderer is just so like mesmerized by the concept of soup too, which I find very
For
charming.
Real.
It's like
there were like
so
multiple paragraphs.
Yeah. It's like, what is this mysterious substance? Which, like, I get you're an alien, but like it's very cute.
The idea that they're on other planets, like a Panera doesn't exist, I think is just has never had a broccoli cheddar soup.
The second we get out of here, we're taking you to get a bread bowl, my man. We are gonna live large. See human innovation at its finest.
Wanderer, I know that you just had soup and bread as separate things, but picture this. What if bread and soup are together?
It can get better.
It's gonna really freak your bean when they are touching.
Humans ain't so bad after all, huh, Wanderer?
You call us barbaric, violent creatures, but we are fucking food innovators, so...
Could a depressed person do this? Could a belligerent species make this, huh?
You call us lazy, but we put bread and soup together, so... We put our ice cream in our cone, so what about that, Wanderer? To be fair, though, I was also a little bit confused by this soup because there's some crunchiness that's happening in here.
There's a lot of textures going on.
Last time I checked, the only crunchiness that happens in soup is like a tortilla soup.
Sure, yeah.
And
maybe there was some oyster crackers. I don't know.
I do like that in the apocalypse they still have oyster crackers.
In the tiny little bags too. Listen, the amount of oyster crackers that have ever been made have all been made before. They are just all remnants from the 40s. Like, everyone is just using the same stash of oyster crackers that just haven't perished since then. And I'm sure they'd last the apocalypse. Same with the Twinkies we're talking about, you know? They're just there.
I completely agree. Stuff that would survive the apocalypse, a list. Oyster crackers, Twinkies, candy corn. Yes. And all of them can work as making shelters as well. So I think it would make sense. And all of those actually hit different needs on the food pyramid, if you're really being honest.
Good. Yeah.
You have carbs, you have vegetables, and you have dessert. So as far as I'm concerned, you're fine.
Yeah.
And yes, I am counting candy corn as vegetables. Eat my butt. So it's made from corn syrup. You can't tell me that's not a vegetable. You can't. Anyways, after eating that soup, Wonder's health bar has like come up just half a heart. And so Melanie comes back, which I love. I love this idea that Melanie is essentially, what is that blue fairy called in Legend of Zelda?
Oh, Navi?
Navi, yeah. I like the idea that Melanie is kind of like Navi. Because she kind of appears and she's like, I can't believe Jared hit me. Like, he's kind of hot and I kind of did like it, but I can't believe he hit me.
But it was rude.
It was kind of rude.
At least use the safe word. Like, come on. Like, Jesus Christ, man.
And, like, in front of all those people, which, again, I did kind of like, but I did not expect it to happen.
Yeah.
Anyways, weird little moment that happens there. There's some situations that are, some conversations, I would say, that are happening between the two of them, especially because Wonder is like, I know that you're saying that you wouldn't have done the same, but if Jared would have just come barreling at you with my eyes, you definitely would have rocked his shit. And she's like, you know what? That's fair. So that's fair. The other thing that's wild is into this chapter when Melanie and Wonder are still having this conversation is Melanie starts to have the realization that Wonder actually loves Jared as well. And Melanie had not had that realization before. And it was like, now wait a goddamn minute. I thought...
Yeah, hold on. Whoa.
I thought that was just me. And Wonder's like, now... Listen, don't be rude here. But Melanie's like, you are a 3-inch worm. How can you fall in love with a 30-year-old man?
Yeah.
And Wonder's like, first of all, I'm not 3 inches long. So, rude.
Yeah, rude.
Take it back. I am a little bit longer than 3 inches when you extend me. So, rude.
When I reach my full potential.
When I actually try, I'm not that. So
on a good day.
And second of all, I only fell in love with him, Melanie, because you were so goddamn convincing. So whose fault is it really?
Yes. I didn't ask to be born in your stupid body and your brain. That's only things about this man. So that's on you, man. I don't want to be in love with this dude.
They're just literally two Spider-Men looking at each other like, wait a goddamn minute.
Yeah. Who did this?
And so Melanie's like, well, fuck. So if you were in another person's body, would you still love Jared? And they're both like, I don't know, man. Like, we're both kind of in a pickle here.
Yeah.
So, fuck. What this makes me think of, at least the vibe I got from this, is it gave me a similar tone to the tent scene in Eclipse. Of
totally.
I don't know, I can't really pinpoint why it did, but it was just like something about the kind of like helplessness of these two characters reminded me a lot, I think, of the helplessness that I felt in the tent scene in Eclipse, I think. And so that stood out to me a lot. And I think that is something if I had to compliment Stephanie, that she tends to do a lot with her characters, but I think it's something that she tends to write pretty well, in the sense of, like, I don't know, if she's going to make something similar across all of her books, this is actually a different way to take that feeling and write it differently, I guess.
Yeah, I agree, totally.
So there's that. And I will not, that's the only compliment I'm going to give her, because there's another moment here that feels very similar. So, and it is literally on the next page. So, after being able to get some sustenance, Wander and Melanie both fall asleep. Very quickly afterwards, wake up to hearing lovely Machete Kyle and Jared arguing. And as we are describing this, folks, I want you to just keep in your brain the Port Angeles fight in your brain. No reason. Just
think about it.
Just think about it.
Save it for later, maybe.
Maybe just think about it. And if you note any similarities, maybe just think back on why that is there. So Kyle is here. He seems to have, like, found this miraculous cave that seems to have been, like, far away. I don't know why. And Jared seems to have won something, is what both Wander and Melanie have come to a conclusion on. Right. Is like, Jared seems to have won something. That is why Wander is not being tortured and not being killed immediately. But Kyle is angry about it, and he's going to be mad. And also it seems like that Dr. Ian is there too. And so they're all very angry. And the chapter on this ends with them about to, like, rock Jared's shit. But before that happens, like, when they're about to start, like, choking him out, Wander just launches through a hole. And you might be like, how logistically does that work? And that's a great question. And it's not answered because we move to the next chapter.
You'll love to see it.
So apparently, and I still can't really figure out how this happens, but it felt a lot like, you better hold on tight, spider monkey. Like, it's just moving from a laying down sleeping position to just, like, jumping.
Yeah.
I have no idea how it happened. But now Wander is standing in front of Jared, blocking the way here. And it's a lot of, like, there's a lot of masculinity that's happening in this moment. There's a lot of anger that's happening. And so, of course, Wander is like, what the fuck's can y'all stop it?
Hey, stop. Cut it out.
This is gross. But of course, Jared is like, rawr, like, let me take care of this. I don't want an alien species dealing with this. And I feel like this would have just continued in perpetuity of them just being, like, rawr on both sides for forever. And it would have been funny if it was an emo, like, rawr. But it's not. It's like we're gonna actually, like, beat the shit out of you. And it's a fight in the way that Stephanie does fights, which is a lot of, like, scowling and saying monster and hissing and saying, like, it's not your duty to protect me. Very, like, again, we've seen this fight happen in 4 other books before. Yeah. And if you just imagine what those fights read like before, you know what this looks like. It only actually ended not because a vampire ripped another person's head off, but instead because of a very tired old man with a gun who didn't shoot anyone, just clicked it and was like, can y'all shut the fuck up? Actually.
Yeah.
Which, I don't condone guns. I don't condone gun violence. I do condone angry and tired old men in this situation, though, who are just like, I'm very tired of this showboating of masculinity.
Yeah.
Please stop. So I appreciate that. And it seems like finally Jeb is able to ask, like, this is Jared's decision about what is going to happen to Wanderer, even though Jared will not look at Wanderer. So what is the decision? So ultimately, Jared has to be like, I guess Wanderer has to stay alive, rawr. And then he just, like, runs away. A shocker, folks. I feel like you could have imagined that that was what was going to happen. And so, of course, Wanderer is just chilling, getting more food, chilling out. Until you might have thought about this yourself, is what happens when Melanie's body needs to do bodily functions. And this is when we get to my favorite part of these two chapters, which is the MTV Cribs-esque tour.
Yes. Hey guys, welcome to my crib.
That Jeb takes us on when walking to the bathroom. And this is why I appreciate this conspiracy theory-esque man, who I think in any other universe could be incredibly conservative and, yeah, who just might not be as open-minded as we see in this story. And this Cribs tour is amazing. More talking than we've ever seen from this man, or probably more than Melanie might have ever seen from her uncle. Lots of explanations about caves. Lots of talk about the light and the crevices and the lava that used to be there. Mm-hmm. Lots of, like, talks about the gaps. Stuff that really should have been in, like, other MTV Cribs tours, some might say.
Yeah, seriously.
And makes me, as I was reading through this, I was like, yeah, I can definitely imagine MTV Cribs crew just, like, coming through this. Because he's just like, yeah, like, I found this place back in the 70s. Well, I mean, it kind of found me. Like, I fell through the roof. I probably should have died. But, like, I kind of just, like, found my way out. And I was just, I don't know. Like, I just, like, explored it and kept it up. And it was great. It was very good. And by the end, he takes Wanderer into this, like, massive room and asks Wanderer what they think. And that's where the chapter ends.
Way-ho.
Yeah. Lots of Cribs tour-esque stuff there, which is great.
Love that.
I know. It's amazing. So we'll get to see more of those spaces in chapter 17 and 18 next week, which is fantastic. But for now, we have some amazing patrons to thank.
Hell yeah, we do.
Hell yeah, we do. Oh. Would you like to start with thanking what I always like to think of as our birthday party guests?
Yes. Shout out to Mallory Hardwick.
Pew, 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 pew. Thank you to Katie Black.
Bwee, bwee, bwee. Thank you, Kylie Minty.
Pew, 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 pew. Thank you to Elizabeth James.
Woo, yeah. Thank you to Jess Love.
Pew, 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 pew. Thank you to Alex Dornan.
Bwee, bwee, bwee.
Pew, pew, pew.
Thank you, Carrie Goldberg.
Pew, 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 pew. Thank you to Mickey Meyer.
Ow, yeah.
Wee.
Shout out Zoe Steele.
Thank you to Rebecca Cullen.
Bwee, 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 bwee.
Pew, 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 pew.
Thank you, Amy Taylor.
Woohoo!
Ooh.
Thank you to Mulch Gray. Mulch.
Bwee, bwee, bwee. Mulch. Shout out Taylor Brown Town Lautner.
Woo!
Ooh.
Thank you to Aaron Weber.
Bwee, bwee, bwee.
Pew, 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 pew.
Shout out Gwen Stanley.
Pew, 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 pew. Thank you to Jasmine Anastasia. Pew, 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 pew.
Ooh, yeah. Shout out Bailey Christian.
Pew, 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 pew. Thank you to my mom, Kelly Beck.
Mom!
Mom!
Shout out Erin Salinger.
Pew, 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 pew. Thank you to Sophia Salinger.
Bwee, bwee.
Pew, 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 pew.
Shout out India Peach.
Pew, 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 pew. Thank you to Jay Molina. Pew, 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 pew.
Ow, yeah. Shout out Casey Yorkie.
Pew, 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 pew. And last but certainly not least, thank you to Sarah Blythe.
Bwee, bwee, bwee.
I have a fan fiction for you today. It is titled Two Different Worlds. It is written by Unwritten Love Dreams. And the summary, well, this was published on April 3rd of 2009. And it is a long time ago. And the summary is when two people from two different places in the world come together on the internet, will there be two different worlds to bring them close together? Now, I did not realize until after reading this that this was a crossover between Twilight and Camp Rock.
Very fun.
But I'm going to read just an excerpt from Bella signing in to a chat room. It is very short, it is very sweet, but I feel like it encapsulates Bella's personality. So, the chat room is titled Talk to People from Around the World. Oh, this one looks promising, not like the others. I'm going to see what that's about. Summary. If you want to know what it's like around the world, just click here and send your email address, and we will send you someone else's so you can talk to them. A wonderful way to make new friends. No parents' permission required if you are 17 years or older. Name here, Bella Swan. Email address, bella12345@hotmail.com. Age here, 16. Personality here. I'm quiet with a low confidence. I have few friends, but loyal to the ones that I have. I'm smart, nice, interesting, and understanding. Can talk for hours. Oh, wow. I can't believe I just did that and sent it. Wow. Insane.
Wow, snaps. That was beautiful.
I just wanted to take you all back to what the internet on 2009 really felt like. And sometimes it did. It felt really safe.
I love it.
Sometimes I do just want to go back there, Different kind of world.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what? Be safe in chat rooms. I mean, first of all, don't use them. But if you're gonna, be safe. And
yeah, absolutely.
From here in the Pacific Northwest,
get bit.
Get whipped.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Into the Twilight is an Earbud Media production. Our theme music is by Eli Krause, and our artwork is by Maddie Padilla. Follow the show on Twitter at Into the Twilight, and support us on Patreon at patreon.com/intothetwilight. Send us an email or a fanfiction at intothetwilightshow@gmail.com. You can find Allie at Into Wild Places and me at Cody Crow.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media, audio for everyone.